This is a chart that was posted on the evangelicalbible.com Facebook page, and they just posted this today. I thought it was really interesting, and I thought a lot of people who watch my channel would think it's really interesting to look at this. This is sales copies by Bible translation at evangelicalbible.com for 2021 up to this point. I'm recording this toward the end of July of 2021, so this is all going to change as the year goes on, or it will change some as the year goes on, I presume. But this gives you a picture as to where things are at right now as I record this. I just did a video actually on the subject of Bible translation sales, and in that video I was looking some at the ECPA sales that are reported, and this is an example where it says best of 2020, and you can see the listing of different Bible translations there. Often at ECPA, the New International Version will be the #1 best-selling translation. The same day that I was talking about this subject, I actually was talking on the phone with someone who's in the publishing industry, and they brought out some really good points and had some really good questions that are good to ask. And one of the key questions is who is actually reporting the Bible sales and who isn't reporting the Bible sales, because when it comes to lists like the ECPA, it's easy to think that that's giving you the whole picture, that this is all the Bibles being sold in the United States of America, for example. But in reality, you don't know for sure who's reporting and who isn't. So it's possible, for example, that christianbook.com isn't even considered in this report. And that would definitely affect sales and the picture that we have of Bible translation sales. So what's really neat about this is this gives you a certain kind of a picture. This shows you the sales that are being reported specifically through evangelicalbible.com. If you are not familiar with this website, they sell a lot of different Bibles. You can see all different publishers that they're selling here. And they also have their own Bibles called Schuyler Bibles, which I talk a lot about on this channel. And they also sell Cambridge and Allen Bibles. These are premium quality Bibles, some of the best Bibles on the market. So you can look at evangelicalbible.com, go to their website. If you haven't been there before, I encourage you to check it out. You'll see a lot of really interesting Bibles there, beautiful Bibles. But back to their sales chart, what you see here is this is the translations that are being sold on their website, and you get a taste of what is really being sold the most. And what's fascinating is it looks to me here like the highest selling translation so far in 2021, specifically through evangelicalbible.com, is the ESV in this blue color here. And then in orange, you'll see very close in sales is the King James Version. What I find so fascinating about the King James Version is that it's selling really well at this website, but you also can see in the reported sales through ECPA that the King James Version is also really high up there, just behind the New International Version. Whereas the New International Version at Evangelical Bible is not one of the top translations sold. So it really just shows here a difference in demographic and the kinds of people that are buying these Bibles through this particular outlet. And what you see is that the King James in both of these settings is really strong. And I have a feeling that probably in a lot of different settings, when it comes to English-speaking Christians, the King James is still really high up there in sales. But it is interesting that at evangelicalbible.com, the ESV is a really, really strong seller. Schuyler does have various editions of the English Standard Version, and there are also Crossway Bibles at this website. So a lot of good options available for the English Standard Version. But also because the English Standard Version is selling really well, I think that encourages publishers to make more editions of this translation. So I would call those two, the ESV and the KJV, the top sellers here. They actually account for over half of the sales. at this website. But then you look here, I would put this in the second tier, this gray color and the yellow. So you have the NASB and the NKJV here as kind of the second tier, the second best-selling translations at evangelicalbible.com. And that's interesting because the NKJV is actually related to the King James Version. So if you combine the NKJV and the KJV related translations, that accounts for a very significant portion of the sales at this website. The NASB, though, is doing very well. And then kind of on the third tier here, they look like they're very close in the amount of sales, are the CSB in this light blue color and the NIV in this green color. So the NIV and CSB look like they're about tied in terms of sales right now. I predict, and I could be wrong, but I think the CSB, as more editions come out, specifically in the Schuyler Bibles, I think the CSB is actually going to increase in sales and in the portion of sales on this website as time goes on. Of course, as a lot of you know, I'm biased toward the CSB, so you're not surprised to hear me say that. But I think the CSB just came out somewhat recently in Schuyler Bibles. There are also Holman Bibles at this website. But I think as more premium options become available with the CSB, the handcrafted collection and Schuyler Bibles, I believe the CSB is going to continue to grow in its market share. And then the next tier, which I guess is the fourth tier, would be the NLT and the RSV. They look about tied in terms of sales. What's interesting is the RSV, I don't think has a lot of options available, and yet it's actually doing pretty well. It's up there with the NLT. Now, again, you're thinking here of a certain demographic. The people who buy at evangelicalbible.com aren't necessarily the same people who are going to be shopping at other websites and other stores. And I would say that at other shopping outlets, venues, you're going to see high sales for the NIV and the NLT beyond what you actually see here. So again, never take these sales charts to be the whole picture. They're just giving you a snapshot of a certain demographic, a certain group of people who are buying Bibles. And then this little sliver here is the NRSV. So with this group, that's the least sold translation. What's interesting, though, is the RSV and the NRSV are kind of related to the English Standard Version in terms of their history. They have a connection there because the RSV is actually the parent of both the ESV and the NRSV. So you could say that these here are ESV and ESV related translations that are taking up about a third of this pie. The KJV and the related NKJV are taking up even more than a third, close to half of the sales. And then the NASB would be third behind that. And then you have CSB, NIV, and then finally NLT. So I just wanted to share this chart and give a little bit of analysis and some of my thoughts on it. I would love to hear your reaction to all of this. Is this surprising to you, or is this kind of what you would expect? Also, again, I want to reiterate that it's easy for people to think this is actually showing you what the best-selling translations out there are. However, that is not necessarily true. This is just at evangelicalbible.com. But considering it's this particular website, is this the picture that you assumed was the case? Did you think these were the best-selling translations? At the end of the day, when it comes to these particular people that are buying at this website, you can see that the ESV, the King James, as well as the New King James, are really doing very well. And the NASB is also up there too. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And thank you so much for taking a look at this subject with me from a Frisch Perspective.